Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of our flagship station, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. You can find Civic Center TV on Comcast, Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99, where you'll also find us in the Birmingham-Bloomfield area on Birmingham Area Municipal Access and in Southfield on City Cable 15 of Southfield. Join us on Channel 10 in Waterford on the Media Network of Waterford and live to tape at 1 o'clock p.m. and 1 o'clock a.m. in both Lake Orion and Orion Township on Orion Neighborhood Television or ONTV. Find us also on the radio in the Birmingham, Bloomfield, and Troy area on 88.1 WBFH, the BIF, a service of the Bloomfield Hills School District. And you can find us online in a number of different places on our Facebook pages at Civic Center TV 15 and at Lakes FM. On our website, civiccentertv.com, by clicking on our Watch Live link at the top of the page on your computer web browser, and then the drop-down menu on the left side of your screen in the margin there on your mobile phone and some other mobile devices as well, such as tablets. You can also find us on My Michigan TV, otherwise known as MyMy, on their website, mymytv.com, or by clicking on the link on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast to go to MyMyTV and watch our show live 10 a.m. to 12 noon Monday through Friday. Find many of our interviews and full episodes on demand over there as well. And check out some of their other original programming, such as Steve Leto Live, their imported programming, and find out where you can download both their free smart TV and smartphone apps so you can take My Michigan TV with you on the road and learn more about the great state of Michigan all across Michigan and around the world. And as I said, on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, you can find more information on MyTV and on all other partnering TV, radio, and other media outlets that join us on the Megacast each and every day. You can also find our shows and our full interviews on demand as well on that page. Again, civiccentertv.com/megacast. Right next to that is our coronavirus page, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. We're helping to keep you up to date on everything that you need to know on COVID-19 and more. At the top of the page, we have links to resources from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention at the federal level, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services at the state level, and the Oakland County Health Division in the local area here in Oakland County, where we originate our broadcasters. Click on those links, and it will take you directly to the COVID-19 web pages of those three organizations at the federal, state, and local level, so you can keep up to date on all the information you need to know on COVID-19, including the spread of the virus all across the U.S. and across the state of Michigan in the local area as well. What you need to know about the Omicron variant, about the Delta variant. They're both spreading around at this current time in our local area and throughout the state of Michigan, as well as other variants that will surely be popping up here fairly soon as we continue through this pandemic and all the challenges that come along with it. You can also learn more about precautionary tactics that you can take to prevent the spread of COVID-19 from yourself to others or from others to yourself and your family as well. Precautionary measures such as masking and distancing, washing your hands, everything you need to know from these three resources, as well as information on vaccines and boosters right at the top of the page at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where just below that we scour journalistic outlets from all across the state of Michigan, TV, radio, print, and more, in order to keep you up to date on the top stories, both on the COVID-19 front and beyond, all across the Great Lakes state. Today, making headlines from Friday's recording of COVID-19 numbers here in the state of Michigan from Bridge, Michigan's coronavirus tracker. Michigan's hospitals continue to discharge far more COVID patients than they admit them, with 3,685 being treated as of Friday, down 342 since Wednesday of last week, and nearly 800 in the past week before that. It's one of the continued signs that the surge in cases spurred by the more transmissible Omicron variant may be subsiding. The state also reported 26,309 new infections on Friday, or 13,155 for Thursday and Friday. That pushed the 7-day average down over 1,000 daily cases to 13,301 from the previous average of 14,335 recorded last week Wednesday. That's still nearly twice as high as the peak of previous surges, but it's well below the recent high of 17,589 recorded on January 19th. In the past 45 days, during which Omicron has emerged and surged here in Michigan and across the U.S. and the world, the state has reported 557,000 confirmed infections, nearly 30% of the 1.9 million confirmed cases since March of 2020. Case counts are falling in 64 of the of the state's 83 counties, a steep reversal from just 2 weeks ago when case counts were rising in 69 counties. The state also reported 173 additional COVID deaths, including 121 determined after a review of medical and health records. Testing data shows that 24% of the nearly 100,000 most recent tests had come back positive, a decline from 28% last week Wednesday. The positive rate over the past week is 27.1%, down from 32.4% in the previous week's recording. That full article from Bridge, Michigan on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Also making headlines, this from the Detroit Free Press. Well, we had the issue, of course, that we talked about briefly during this segment on one of our shows last week with Central Michigan University sending congratulatory emails to students about them receiving full ride scholarships accidentally. There's a second university that somehow made the same mistake in a completely different way. So at least they got their stuff together over there at Oakland University, where they mistakenly told 5,500 students that they won the highest scholarship. Oakland University accidentally sent emails to 5,500 of its admitted students on January 4th, notifying them that they were receiving the school's highest scholarship, the Platinum Presidential Scholarship Award. The award is worth $12,000 a year for 4 years of undergraduate school. Quote, the mistake was due to, quote, human error, in closed quote, said university spokesman Brian Beerley in a statement. Quote, unfortunately, the students who received the message do not meet the eligibility requirements for this award, but have qualified for varying levels of OU scholarship awards. While the emails were sent in error, OU notifies students of scholarship awards through official scholarship award letters sent to students via the U.S. mail, end closed quote. Beerley said and, quote, immediate correction update, in closed quote, was sent to all 5,500 admitted students within 2 hours of the initial mistake. This is the second time this month, as I said, that a university here in the state of Michigan has accidentally informed prospective students that they won a scholarship when they did not. Central Michigan mistakenly told 58 prospective students that they had won a full scholarship that includes room and board previously. This incident at Oakland University, just slightly more than those 58 students, with it being well over 5,000. However, CMU officials apologized for the error on Wednesday night of last week and offered the equivalent of a full tuition scholarship to each of the 58 prospective students affected. Carnell Poindexter, a senior at West Bloomfield High School, did not get the same offer from Oakland University. On January 4th, he received an email indicating he had been awarded the Platinum Presidential Scholar Award. Quote, I was kind of set on going to Oakland University, he said, continuing, I was really excited when I got the first email. I was telling all my friends and stuff that I got a full ride, and then I got the other email, and it was really embarrassing. I was like, oh man, that was not for me, and I had to go tell people I told that it was not true, in closed quote. His mom, Gwen Poindexter, said she was so excited and proud when they got the first email, and it would have taken away the stress of paying college tuition. Quote, it felt like someone pulled the rug out from under us. We were really excited and thinking, okay, great, we're all set. We didn't have to worry about college tuition and could just focus on getting his education, in closed quote. It would have been a game changer and it meant, quote unquote, everything to him and his family if he had actually received the scholarship, Carnell Poindexter said. Carnell and his mom, Gwen, said that they understand that mistakes happen. They realize that the school can't give over 5,000 people a full tuition scholarship, but they wish they had received something to quote-unquote offset the heartbreak, even just an email with other scholarships for which Carnell may have been eligible. On January 5th, Shane Lewis, the director of undergraduate admissions, and Dawn Aubrey, vice president for enrollment management, sent an email to apologize for the quote-unquote unfortunate mistake and to say school administrators hope recipients will still consider attending Oakland University. Quote, we know the college application process is an extremely stressful time, and we are sorry for the added confusion and disappointment this email has caused. The email read in the apology email, of course. Continuing on in the apology email, quote, while we know this message will not make up for our mistake, we wanted to share our deep regret that this error occurred and our deep compassion toward all of those affected, end closed quote. That full article from the Detroit Free Press, as well as supporting materials on our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, while other colleges and universities across the the state of Michigan hopefully have their technical systems a little bit more refined at this point, so we don't have more universities continuing to tell students they get scholarships that they don't have. It's kind of odd that we have two of those similar incidents in 1 week. Got to get that stuff together. Maybe send a test email instead. Lastly, making headlines at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. As we look a little bit later on into this week, we're on winter storm watch, according to the Detroit News. We're expecting 8 to 14 inches of snow forecast for southeast Michigan this week. Winter storm forecasts that start late last week are becoming clearer, with the National Weather Service putting southeast, central, and southwest Michigan under winter storm watch for significant snow. Quote, a long duration of light to moderate intensity snowfall is expected between Wednesday morning and Thursday evening, end closed quote, according to the National Weather Service for southeast Michigan. The message continues on, quote, snow may become briefly heavy at times. Total snow accumulations of 8 to 14 inches are possible, end closed quote. The watch includes Sanilac, Shiawassee, Genesee, Lapeer, St. Clair, Livingston, Oakland, Macomb, Washtenaw, Wayne, Lenawee, and Monroe counties in southeast Michigan, Berrien, Cass, Branch, Hillsdale counties in southwest Michigan, with predictions of 6 to 12 inches of snow, and Clinton, Allegan, Barry, Eaton, Ingham, Van Buren, Kalamazoo, Calhoun, and Jackson counties in central Michigan, with predictions of 8 to 12 inches of snow. Temperatures early in the week will be relatively mild, and the precipitation on Tuesday night likely will start as rain. That will change quickly to snow, according to the National Weather Service, and persist for all of Wednesday and for much of Thursday. Quote, the overall setup really sets the stage for potential significant amount of snowfall over a roughly 48-hour period, the National Weather Service says, adding, quote, at least moderate potential to exceed 8 inches as far north as the I-69 corridor in Sanilac County, with a foot plus certainly in play across southern sections of the watch area, end closed quote. Now, of course, that message is written in broken up terms as it is directly from the National Weather Service to other weather reporting agencies. That's why it's kind of broken English there. After the snow, bitterly cold temperatures are expected to continue. While all snow is expected in Michigan and in northern Indiana and Ohio, some areas will see a higher potential for freezing rain. Meteorologists say the exact track of the storm has yet to be determined, but southeast Michigan could see blizzard conditions later on this week. Of course, stay up to date on that storm, on that impending storm, as more information comes in from the National Weather Service, and frankly, because you're going to get a lot better information about this storm from experts at Channel 7, at Channel 2, at Channel 4, at Channel 62, on the radio, on WWJ, and on WJR, and other radio stations that have meteorologists on hand that will explain how the storm is forming, where it's going, and how it may affect your community. That's, of course, those stations I suggested are here in the Oakland County area and in southeastern Michigan. Check your local listings and stay with your local TV and radio stations to keep up to date on this storm. If you're in southwest, central, or southeast Michigan, as we approach this potential big storm coming in, 6 to 12 inches in southeast Michigan, according to this article from the Detroit News and their sources at the National Weather Service, and 8 to 12 inches in central, in south central Michigan as well. So get yourself prepared and be prepared on Wednesday and Thursday and potentially even on Friday, really, to take a little more time out of your morning to get from point A to point Z and be respectful of people on the roads, because it's already bad enough in the winter driving here in Michigan when the weather conditions are clear. Let's not make it worse when there are terrible conditions. Use your blinkers, keep your distance, maybe not tailgate, maybe leave a little earlier. Biggest suggestion, as always, just don't be a jerk on the road. Maybe take a little time and get ready to do a lot of shoveling and clear the snow off your cars as well later on this week. All those articles on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where you can also find those very helpful resources from the Centers for Disease Control, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division. Again, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. We have a great Monday edition of the Megacast ahead for you. Coming up next at 10:20, I'll speak with Lisa Macheski from the Oakland Literacy Council. That's coming up next. And then at the bottom of the hour, we'll talk about all things elections with West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder. That includes how the ongoing controversy and discussions over the redistricting maps may affect our upcoming primary elections, as we are now almost a full month into 2022, as well as ongoing election issues such as absentee voting, as well as becoming an election worker and how you can get an inside look at the processes that go into counting all the votes in each and every one of our elections. At 11 o'clock, Keri Kazz will join us, the district manager for Escape Room Zone and Azra Haunted House, to talk about why rage rooms are all the rage. And then at 11:20, Jim Holcomb, the new president and CEO of the Michigan Chamber of Commerce, will join us on the Megacast, and we'll cap off today's edition of the show with Forgotten Harvest corporate engagements and events manager Erica Mara at 11:40. That's all coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
we work together to protect water resources for everyone.
Most of the pollution entering our rivers is carried by rainwater that runs off roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
a rain garden helps catch stormwater runoff.
Rain gardens and their plants help dirty runoff soak into the ground.
You can do your part to help keep our water clean.
Learn about rain gardens and native plants.
So consider a rain garden in your home landscaping.
Catch the runoff with a rain garden.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you. Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation. Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
We're joined now by the Executive Director of the Oakland Literacy Council, which for 37 years has enabled our students to achieve literacy goals through partnership with trained tutors. And their Executive Director, Lisa Macheski, joins us now on the Megacast. Lisa, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Tyler. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Appreciate having you on as well. So tell us a little bit about the Oakland Literacy Council. Obviously, as I said, it's been in operations for almost 40 years at this point. Tell us what the goals of your organization is and how it helps to support literacy in our communities.
Well, I love to be around this organization that has this 40 years of history and making sure that people have the basic skills they need to survive and thrive in our community. We focus on reading, English language, math, and digital literacy to make sure that people all have the foundational skills they need to be successful in the workplace, to be successful as parents, and to be successful just as a member of our community.
We're joined by Lisa Macheski, the Executive Director of the Oakland Literacy Council on the Megacast. And so some of the work that you do, this 501c3 nonprofit organization, is working with trained volunteer tutors that are helping to help individual students reach those literacy goals. Where does that process usually start in not only finding those connections and helping to build those relationships that are so critical in advancing these kids' literacy, but also getting the kids into this program that may have some issues with their literacy or with their reading comprehension?
Well, Tyler, one of the first things to know is that we don't deal with kids. Okay. We deal with adults. We work with those that are 18 years or older, and we pair them with volunteer tutors. So it really is a peer relationship where people can build on those individual goals. Some of our learners are have English as not their first language, and they have learned, they are here and they need to have those English skills. But some of our learners are also those that have experienced some problems with the traditional school system. So we really believe that that one-on-one relationship is so important. And relationships are really at the foundation of all that we do. We want to make sure that people have the space to be successful, to be able to try new things. It's hard as an adult to try new things when you might fail a little bit. But we know that failure is just a first step towards making sure that you meet your goals. We have to try and experiment to learn something new. Our students come to us with a wide variety of literacy goals. Some are very simple. A student might want to be able to talk to their child's teacher and be able to communicate more successfully in this new land for themselves. Others have literacy goals around making sure that they get that GED or making sure that they get into the training program that they might want. Others need to learn English in order to gain citizenship here in this country.
Yeah, and what's great about your programs too is even though your organization is the Oakland Literacy Council, it's not just English language learning, or it's not just reading comprehension that is the focus of these programs. Your tutors also are helping in writing and in math skills as well for people all across the board that may have a variety of different factors as to why they need some help in these areas. And no matter where they're going in life, no matter where they're at in life, those are such critical skills. So what does this program consist of? How are people coming to your organization for this assistance, and how does that matchmaking sort of go to get them with a tutor that can best help them with their needs?
Well, thank you for mentioning math. It's one of our newest programming offerings, and we know that the need for basic math instruction is so much more than even basic English instruction. So we're really excited about getting the word out around now we offer math, because it's a lot easier to say I struggle with math, because for some reason that's a socially acceptable thing to say, and it's not as socially acceptable to say I struggle with reading. But students come to us from a wide variety of ways. Word of mouth is always our biggest reason why people come to us. They could go to our website and register to go to www.oaklandliteracy.com and become a student. Or if they're interested in tutoring, they could just go to that same website and say become a tutor. And then you just put in some of the basic information. We'll call you back or text you back or email you back, whatever your preference, and start the process.
We're joined by Lisa Macheski, the Executive Director of the Oakland Literacy Council, joining us on the Megacast. And so, as we've mentioned, the tutors that are helping these individuals with their reading, with their writing, with their math skills, or a combination of all of them, they're trained volunteers. What goes into that training to prepare these individuals that are going in for the right reasons, for the right motivations? They want to help people. They have their own skills and abilities in these certain areas, and are using that to assist people that need some help. What sort of training does go into their volunteerism with the Oakland Literacy Council, so that they're not only utilizing their skills best, but they're doing so in a way that is most productive to help these individuals that are seeking the services of your organization?
Well, our tutoring has changed a little bit in the past couple of years. Most of our tutoring is now done virtually, so people have to be able to handle a virtual environment, and our training is all done exclusively on a virtual environment. We now require a introduction training. It's a 2-hour training where we really talk about the diverse needs of all our tutors, and all tutors are required to go through that beginning training session. And then after that, you get to choose what specialty you're interested in. Are you interested in teaching an ESL learner? Are you interested in teaching an adult basic student around basic reading and writing? Or are you interested in tutoring that math? And we provide more in-depth experiences for you to do that piece too. So there's a 2-part training that's required. We also offer just basic information sessions periodically. If you go to our website, you'll be able to see all the different times that ability to just find out about us. Talk to our tutor coordinator, Lori Weeks, and she'll talk about what the training looks like. We do expect all our tutors to meet at least once a week with their learner. Vacations are okay. And they work with them on whatever the individual needs as far as their individual learning goal. This education is also supported with online learning. Tutors really have a lot of tools at hand to make sure that that reading goes, or that successful tutoring relationship and learning happens. Also, our learners are also able to be involved in conversation groups or other small group learning. So we really have three ways of learning, but really the fundamental piece of it is that one-on-one relationship.
We're joined by Lisa Macheski, Executive Director of the Oakland Literacy Council. You can learn more information by visiting oaklandliteracy.com. That's oaklandliteracy.com, where you can learn about becoming a student, becoming a mentor, participate in their news and events, find tools for tutors as well, and more information. Again, oaklandliteracy.com. And so, are there any requirements for tutors as they're oncoming and they're volunteering with their organization? What does your organization look for in a tutor, and what are some of the requirements that they need to cover in order to participate in some of these programs as a volunteer tutor?
Well, first of all, enthusiasm and want to help are the most important requirements for all of our tutors. And but you don't need a higher education. You don't need to be trained as a tutor, although many of them are involved in that and they have that experience. You don't need to have that experience. You just have to have a desire to help, some ability to organize things, make sure you set up meetings. You have to do some of your own lesson plans. It's really, it is an intensive experience, but the rewards are so great because it really allows you to make a difference in somebody's life at a very fundamental level. Because once you gain some of these skills, you can really participate in our society at a much deeper level.
We're joined by Lisa Macheski, the Executive Director of the Oakland Literacy Council, on the Megacast. Again, you can learn more information about the organization by visiting oaklandliteracy.com. And so on your website, you have a link to meet the 35 faces of literacy. So many success stories from people that have engaged in your program and have built so many of those skills that they've sought to build. Can you give us an example of a couple of success stories of people that have engaged in Oakland Literacy Council programming and come out on the other side with those skills that they wanted to obtain, and how it's helped improve their life?
One of the stories that we like to tell this past year, or one of our most recent graduates, is he has opened his own sushi restaurant on Lake Orion. And one of his things that he worked on with his tutor was all the regulations and things that you needed to open a business, especially a food business. So he worked with his tutor to understand what the leasing requirements were, all these different things. So he's a business owner now because our help. And then we also, last week, we just had word that one of our students became citizens. And I also love to tell the story of this individual who decided she was now had custody of her grandchildren and wanted to be that good model. As they were learning online, she was learning online too. She wanted to make sure that she was going to get that GED that she had long promised herself. And by having those kids in the room, she wanted to be that good role model. She's really making some great progress.
We're joined by Lisa Macheski, the Executive Director of the Oakland Literacy Council, joining us on the Megacast. You can learn more information about the organization as well as how you can participate, either as a student if you need some of their assistances, or as a tutor, how you can become a tutor and find some tools to help you with tutoring as well by visiting oaklandliteracy.com. Lisa, just a few more minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Any other information that we haven't discussed on the Oakland Literacy Council, on people's participation on your programs and different events that you'd like to discuss, or anything else that we should be considering at this moment in time as we're trying to help ourselves and help our neighbors improve in some of these basic skills that are so critical to everyday life, but in some ways, in a number of different ways, can either fall to the wayside or be a struggle for people that are new to our area, to our country, to the state of Michigan.
Wonderful. Well, I really like to highlight some of our new programming, so people who have some familiarity with us might not know about that we are now offering math, and we are really focusing on making sure that people have the skills to get into training programs or OCC. We want to make sure that people have those basic math skills, especially those who have had online learning for the past couple of years. Math is one of those difficult things around that, and we are always looking for more tutors for that aspect. But it's really some basic math that you need those practical skills, and that's what all our tutors focus on, making sure that they're focusing on practical skills. We're not just drilling multiplication tables and things like that. We're really taking examples, like if you're interested in construction, how do you figure out how much paint you might need to paint a room, and thinking about surface areas and things like that. And we're also doing a lot of programming around digital literacy. We really have found, especially with the pandemic, that digital skills are so important. You can't make doctor's appointments without them. You can't make sure that you're ordering groceries. Those digital skills have really become a cornerstone and foundational basic skill. And we're working with that. We have a curriculum around digital literacy. We also make sure that we help people get into internet access and have devices if needed. So if you want to be a participant in our programs, don't worry that you don't have the computers or anything like that. We make sure that we walk you through and we'll get you all the tools that you need.
You can learn more information by visiting the website at oaklandliteracy.com or by visiting sharedetroit.org and searching Oakland Literacy Council. And while you're over there, explore there are other 267 at this time charities and nonprofits in the Metro Detroit area that they are supporting and sharing information about. Lisa, thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, Share Detroit! They've been great partners.
They are great. We appreciate your time, Lisa. Thank you for being with us.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
to Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
72.7% of high school students get less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. This can cause pain, obesity, and can very negatively affect your mental health. When you have a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, you get sick less often, lose more weight, and have better relationships with those around you. For more information about the dangers of sleep deprivation, go to sleepfoundation.org. This message is brought to you by the WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes, they stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. You can learn more information about everywhere that we broadcast live and live to tape here in Oakland County and throughout the state of Michigan by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also find all of our full episodes and each individual interview on demand. Again, civiccentertv.com/megacast. Joining me now is the West Bloomfield Township Clerk, Debbie Binder, with us again on the Megacast. Debbie, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Tyler. Always good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So at the end of last year, just near the end of the year, the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission had completed its new congressional districts for the state of Michigan, both for federal and for state positions. There are all sort of proposed lawsuits in place already that may affect what those final maps will be ultimately when voters go to the polls later on this year for primary elections and then in November for the general election here in 2022. Are the districts that were a part of West Bloomfield and surrounding communities, how have those, at least as the maps are currently proposed, how have those been affected by this redistricting? Have they changed significantly?
Well, one large change that has happened is West Bloomfield is now what's called the community of interest. So where we used to be separated into 2 different areas or 3 different areas, we're now considered, we're now considered one area or one community of interest. So you saw our U.S. Congressional District and Michigan House District went from 2 districts to 1. Our state Senate district was already 1 district, and our commissioners went from 3 to 2. So you did see, but we're expanded. Now instead of broken into the one side of West Bloomfield and another, we're now one, West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake.
And so with where the maps stand right now, because of the lawsuits, because they're not entirely finalized at this moment in time, where do those districts stand at this moment in time? Are we still operating under the previous congressional districts and federal congressional districts here in Oakland County and throughout the state of Michigan, or are these new maps that the Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission have passed through, are those now official?
Well, there are challenges to them, so we are waiting on a final determination. However, we expect that we will have that final determination by April 4th, which is the statutory deadline that we need to have those determinations. Now, our understanding is that they are going quickly through to the Supreme Court, that they are aware that they have a deadline to comply with. So we're operating from that perspective now. Now, our districts Most of what's going to change our districts at this point is there's a statute that requires that no precinct be larger than 2,999 registered active voters, and we have a few precincts that are pushing that limit. So we will see some changes based on that number. Most of the changes we were able to do by keeping voters, we're adding one precinct, and we were able to keep the vast majority of voters in their same polling location, even if there was a precinct change. So we really did our best to make it as simple for the voters as possible. There will be some minor changes, but most of those changes have to do with the size of the precincts and staying in compliance with statute from our perspective versus the redistricting.
So as a local clerk, a township, a city, a village clerk, when these changes are undergoing, or when this does become official, and it could be with as short of notice as that April 4th deadline, or maybe even a little bit afterward, depending on where the Supreme Court cases go in this regard, what are the next steps that are taken by our clerk's offices to then not only inform the voters of where they will be voting, but also to make those new arrangements for what ultimately will be a slightly different operation than in previous elections, with the implications of new districts?
Well, around April 4th, by that deadline, people should watch their mailboxes. Every registered voter in West Bloomfield will receive a new voter ID card, and that ID card will have their new districts on it. So watch your mailboxes for that. That's an important part of it. The local clerks are involved in the process. It comes from the state, the county gets involved, and the locals get involved in helping apply it to the qualified voter file. We do anticipate that there will be a little bit of buckle up, put your seatbelt on, and we've got to get cracking and short time frame, which is what happened in 2020 with a lot of legislation that came at us last minute. So we are clerks, it's what we do, and we know how to make it happen and comply with deadlines. So that's what we will plan on. But I do think it's important that everyone watch their mailbox, because that new voter ID card will have all the information. If you have questions, call the clerk's office, but we worked really hard to make sure that people could stay in their same polling location so that it really minimized the confusion that we would anticipate.
We're joined by West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder on the Megacast. You can learn more information in West Bloomfield specifically from the clerk's office about how the redistricting may affect where you're voting, or may affect congressional districts in the West Bloomfield area by visiting the West Bloomfield Township website at wbtownship.org. And so, Debbie, something that became critical in the 2020 elections was the availability of absentee voting to voters across the board. And is there still availability for residents to be able to add themselves to the permanent absent voter list at this time? And how can they go about that?
Absolutely, and all that takes is a phone call or an email to the office to be added to the permanent absent voter application list. I do want to clarify that it's an application list, and a permanent absent voter list does not mean you automatically get a ballot. It means you automatically get an application. You don't get a ballot unless we receive a signature matched application.
And so what goes into that application? What should people be prepared for if they do decide to request that application from their local clerk's office? What information do they need to provide in order to get themselves assured that they will receive an absentee ballot for the upcoming election?
Well, with Proposal 3 of 2018, we have no excuse absentee voting. So where you used to have to select one of the reasons you were requesting an absentee ballot, you don't now. You can just request to vote by mail, or absentee ballot or by mail. So what the voter would do is send in that application with their signature. We match the signature, verify it against the signature we have on file through the qualified voter file. And if the signature matches, that voter would be sent a ballot. So if they have any questions about getting that application, you just need to call my office, and we can add you to the permanent absent voter application list, so you will get that application in the mail. You can also call and request one, and that application is also available on our website. And there is also a generic state of Michigan application that's available on the state of Michigan's website. One important place to call voter attention to, Tyler, is the Voter Information Center. And if someone searches Michigan Voter Information Center, they'll be able to contact reference the state's website and get a lot of information. In addition to requesting an absentee ballot or registering to vote, they can learn more about which district and their precinct. And even during an election, they can get a sample copy of their ballot. Makes it a lot easier when you go into the polls, and that's how I do it. I actually get a sample ballot, which you can get online, or you can go to your clerk's office and request one for your precinct, and then you can go to your polling location with your sample ballot in hand, ready to vote for who your choices are.
And you can get access to the Voter Information Center, Michigan Voter Information Center, by navigating the Michigan Secretary of State's website by visiting michigan.gov/SOS. That's michigan.gov/SOS. We're joined by West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder on the Megacast. Of course, as we are approaching the primary elections coming up in August and the general election in November, it is every election should be considered a big election, but it's a big election year here in the state of Michigan with a highly anticipated gubernatorial election coming up in November. Those primaries, of course, as I said, in August. And that means there's going to be continued need, as there always is, for election workers, previous and new ones, to come in. What is the process for people if they want to become an election worker in West Bloomfield or in their local area to go about doing that, and what can they expect to experience as an election worker?
Well, it's what I can tell you is people get involved, and the same people get involved year after year. Everyone complains it's a really long day, and everyone comes back. They enjoy the experience. You understand the magnitude of what you're involved in. It's really rewarding. Even when it's exhausting, you know that you're contributing to something that's really important. To become an election worker, you would contact your clerk's office. We have an application, and I'm sure every municipality has an application to apply for election workers. We were fortunate in 2020 that we were able to, we really focused on recruiting in 2020. We were able to recruit 300 new election workers. Now, we do anticipate that a lot of them were, inspired by 2020, and we're not sure what our retention will be on that. So we are always looking to replenish our election workers. It's an important, you can't have too few, so it's important to keep that, that talent pool active. So it's as easy as contacting your local clerk, getting involved. If you want to get involved in West Bloomfield, you do not have to be a resident. You can work in any municipality. So I would recommend, if it's something you're thinking about doing, number one, you'll find it rewarding. And number two, with all of the concern lately about the safety and security of elections, it's a really good way to see the process in action and be reassured at what you're experiencing when you watch what actually goes on election day and the checks and balances in place. So I encourage anyone who's interested in getting involved to call my office and sign up to work. You'll enjoy it, you'll feel it's rewarding, and you'll be reassured. It's a great opportunity. And for our youngins, I like to tell them it's a phenomenal resume and college app job. So we have increased the number of youngins we have working, and it just gives them a great opportunity. Again, that kind of public service on your resume or your college app is really important.
What's the time commitment for serving as an election worker? Because there's a lot of training that goes into it. There are several training sessions that are required by the state for local municipalities to hold for their election workers. So if someone is interested, but they need to carve out the time in their schedule, what can they expect to be that kind of commitment for working as an election worker?
Okay, it's 1 or 2 trainings depending on the position, and we do try to offer the trainings at a variety of times, days, nights, and we even do weekends, because we do want to have some of our college students who are great. We want them to have the opportunity to come back, so we do offer training on weekends to make it more accessible for those college students. So there is a variety of choices. Again, it's 1 or 2 2-hour trainings. Election day is the long day. Election day typically starts, if you're in a precinct, at 6 a.m. and goes until 8:30 to 10 o'clock, I would say. And if you're in the AV counting board, your start time can be anywhere from 6 a.m. till 9, 10 a.m., but you'll go until the counting is done. So it doesn't have a determined end time. The big difference, I tell people, is if you can be away from your phone. In an AV counting board, you are a sequestered board, meaning you cannot have any electronics there at all and cannot communicate. So if you are attached to your phone, you would probably rather work in a precinct. But if you want a little bit more sedentary opportunity, working in a AV counting board provides that. We have people that they choose the way that they like to work. And during COVID, we've had people who were longtime precinct workers or polling location workers who chose to work the AV counting board. And one of those actually became the co-chair of the AV counting board because he enjoyed it so much. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. We have opportunity for leadership for people who are looking to get involved at a leadership level. And I am always available to have a conversation with somebody about what's the best fit for them, which of the locations. But I promise anyone who does get involved will find it a good experience.
We're joined by Debbie Binder, West Bloomfield Township Clerk, joining us on the Megacast. If you'd like to learn more information about becoming an election worker and serving in West Bloomfield specifically, you can call the clerk's office at 248-451-4848. That's 248-451-4848. And Debbie, among the services that are provided at your office as well for West Bloomfield residents are passport application services. They have been provided in the past. There was some delay or some shutdown of those services during the pandemic for a variety of reasons. Are those services back in operation, and what are those services that are provided by the township?
Yeah, we have been back in service since last February, so we are offering them. One difference is that we made them by appointment now, which has helped for both parties, actually. But we are booking a month out for those appointments. Sometimes there's cancellation, so it's worth a call. If you have imminent travel plans and we can't meet those needs, you would have to contact the Detroit Department of State in Detroit to expedite your passport. We are what's called a passport acceptance agency. We are not the Department of State. That means we are a flow-through for passports that go to the Department of State. We can process kids who are going into their adult passport and first-time passports for adults. We cannot do an adult renewal. However, where it's beneficial to come see us sometimes anyhow is that we have all the papers available, we have passport photos available, and we can ensure that your application is done correctly so that the Department of State doesn't send it back to you with any kind of an error. When you leave the clerk's office, if you're sending in an adult renewal, you leave with a packet ready to go to the post office or put in an envelope and send to the Department of State. That being said, if there's any questions, I would recommend calling my office. We can also discuss with you if you know that you have travel dates and what the timeframes are. Please know that the Department of State is quoting much longer times, in part related to the delays and unexpected delays in mail and in the post office. So you have to factor all of those delayed times in when you're applying for your passport. Do not wait. If you know that you may travel, get your passport as quickly as possible. Don't wait till last minute. You will have a much harder time making it happen now.
Debbie, just lastly before we let you go, any other messages from the clerk's office at this time for West Bloomfield residents, or in a general sense for people across the board here in Oakland County that may be in need of some common services from their local clerk?
We just want people to feel as reassured as possible about voting and that their vote matters. There's a lot of information on TV that I think causes some consternation. If you have questions, call your clerk's office. Talk to your clerk. I'm available to anybody who wants to ask questions. There's a lot of information that we can share that might reassure people who are concerned about what they're seeing. It's a very safe and secure process. I vote at the polls because I like the experience, not because I'm concerned that my absentee ballot doesn't count. During the pandemic year, I very happily voted by absentee ballot. I will likely, once the pandemic's over, go back to the polls just because I like the energy, not because I don't trust the process. So I encourage anyone who has questions, please get in touch with your clerk. We are the best source of the correct information. I am the president, as I'm not sure if you know, Tyler, of the Oakland County Clerks Association, where I serve with a board of very bipartisan board, and any of my clerks would be happy to talk to groups to reassure them about the voting process. So it's time that the clerks are united, making sure people understand.
Yeah, and a great way to understand the process and all the checks and balances that are in place is to become an election worker, and all of our municipalities are always in great need for those workers in big election years and high traffic election years such as 2020 or 2024 for presidential elections, or in the midterms as well, and all of those in between. So Debbie, thank you for joining us, telling us more about those opportunities and more information as we get ready for a big election year here in the state of Michigan.
Thank you, Tyler, very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
You as well. You're listening to your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills, across our entire network of TV, radio, and web outlets. We'll return in just a few minutes with Keri Kazz, the district manager of Escape Room Zone and Ozra Haunted House, coming up next to talk about rage rooms. That's all coming up on this edition of the Megacast.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
211. How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. You can learn more about our show by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com and clicking on our Megacast link, where you will learn more information about all of our partnering TV, radio, and other media outlets that join us live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, live to tape as well throughout the afternoons and on the weekends. And find all of our shows and each individual interview on demand, civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Joining me now is Keri Kazz, the District Manager of Escape Room Zone and Azra Haunted House. With us on the Megacast, Keri, thank you for being with us today.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
Appreciate having you on. So Escape Room Zone has locations in many places here in southeastern Michigan and in mid-Michigan as well. Farmington, Madison Heights, Waterford, Canton, Chesterfield, and Battle Creek. Visitors can come in also in the Farmington and Madison Heights location, and as you say on your website, destroy everything in sight in one of your rage rooms. It's a trend that's picking up all throughout the U.S. and around the world, certainly here in Metro Detroit. For those that are not familiar with the term rage room or the concept of a rage room, what is it and what can they expect to experience if they decide to go to your rage rooms, either in Farmington or in Madison Heights?
So with the Rage Room, it's a 20-minute smashing therapy session. Essentially, you come in, we do a little bit of safety briefing. You pick a playlist of 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes long. We suit you up in all the safety gear. We have like these Tyvek painter suits, goggles, gloves, booties, all that good stuff. We put you in a room that's roughly 15 by 15 with a bunch of breakable items, 20 to 25 admission price, and give you a baseball bat, crowbar, sledgehammer, and you basically do what you think you're going to do. You smash everything in sight. It's a good time.
So what are some of people's favorite items to smash? Because I would imagine, like you said, you have all these different tools that they can use to smash things with, but there's also all these different smashable items as well. What do people usually go to as their go-to items to start off with?
You know, if you've never like frisbeed a plate at the wall, you're missing out in life. All the bins that you get are randomized by the day, so you never really know what you're going to get in there. Ceramic dishes. I see a lot of people bring in their own stuff, as well as, you know, the stuff that we give you. A lot of printers come through my doors. A lot of fax machines. I don't know if they're watching Office Space. Remember that movie? Yeah, I don't really know what they're thinking with that. I see a toilet from time to time. That seems to be, you know, putting a sledgehammer through a toilet. Everyone should do that once, you know.
Yeah, that's. I'm sure there's plenty of interesting things that people will continue to bring in, and will continue to want to smash over there at your escape room zone in both Farmington and Madison Heights, where you also have this rage room. So you mentioned that they are roughly 20-minute sessions. I would imagine it's a lot of cleanup for your staff as well. So are these sessions usually back to back, or how much separation is there between these sessions that people are signing up for?
So they run every 30 minutes. Saturdays are the most popular day, so we're running from 12 noon to midnight. They're every 30 minutes, and I got 4 rooms here at Madison Heights, 3 rooms at Farmington, and they're running back to back. So, I mean, you figure I can have 2 players per rage room per 30 minutes. That's 8 players that are coming through our door every 30 minutes. That's a lot of consumables. It's a lot of glass to sweep up, but I mean, our staff is trained. It usually, honestly, it only takes about 5-10 minutes of a turnaround. So as one of our safety instructors is briefed the next group, the other group is getting cleaned up, or the other room rather, is getting cleaned up and prepped and ready to go. It's pretty streamlined.
We're joined by Keri Kazz, the district manager at Escape Room Zone and Azra Haunted House. You can learn more information by visiting their website at escaperoom-zone.com. That is escaperoom-zone.com to learn more about booking a room at any of their locations, including those rage rooms over at the Farmington and Madison Heights locations, as well as mobile escape experiences, team building experiences, and more. All of that on their website, escaperoom-zone.com, to learn more information. So you mentioned that this is kind of a therapeutic session for people. People go in there, of course, to release some of that pent-up rage that they get from daily life, and maybe even some of that rage they have for certain items in their home or in their office that have malfunctioned for the final time. What have you heard about the psychology behind some of these rage rooms, including the ones that you have in your 2 locations, but that are also becoming, for lack of better terms, all the rage all throughout the U.S.?
So, I mean, originally this trend started in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles many, many years ago. We were one of the first to bring it to Michigan. When we all got together and decided to do a rage room, it was more like a novelty attraction, if you will, where now, like growing the rage concept here in Metro Detroit, I didn't really see the psychology, honestly, at first. But now when you meet these people, you meet people with different personal issues at home, whether it be a loss in the family, marital issues, things that are just going on in the local community. You see people leave the doors here in the rage room, and you just see the expression change on their face. They really needed it. And it's something we're still trying to develop and trying to better that experience. And then you've got the mom and dad who want to bring their kid out for just a Saturday novelty activity. And, you know, the number one thing I see in the rage rooms is people will go, I'm not angry. I don't need that. And then they get in there 20 minutes later, they're even happier than a clam. I didn't know I needed that was the number one phrase I hear. And it's so shocking to see how many people will the next week come back and do another session. Next day, I've had a guy, several gentlemen and ladies call me 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Hey, I need a session right now. We need to do this. And it's bizarre, but I'm glad that we've got it and we're helping people.
And so when the items are broken and after those sessions are complete, where do they go from there? Because some of them, as you mentioned, they're technological items. Some of them are other household items, such as even toilets. And so some of them, there's obviously going to be some sanitary implications. There may be some environmental implications. And a lot of these things you have to have special procedures to throw out, even when you're not smashing them. So what process do you go through after the fact to make sure that these items are being are being disposed of properly?
So it's amazing for a 20-minute session, the amount of prep that it takes and the amount of after math, if you will. It takes, like you're saying, with the disposal is crazy. I've got a team of guys who just go and find all the stuff for me. Afterwards, because it's such a variety of stuff, my team goes through and we divide everything. We recycle what can be recycled. A lot of the electronics, if they can get recycled, sometimes it's filled in with the ceramics and glass. So it's just kind of a combined. I work with the city closely here, and a trash removal company. They help me out with the stuff that can't be salvaged, can't be recycled. But we do our best to basically break everything apart. If we can keep electronics and ceramics, glass apart, we do what we can. But everything's properly disposed of afterwards. That way, everybody wins.
We're joined by Keri Kazz, the district manager of Escape Room Zone and Azra Haunted House, joining us on the Megacast again. More information on their website at escaperoom-zone.com. That is escaperoom-zone.com. And so you mentioned safety, of course, being a critical element of this, both before, during, and after the Rage Room experience. For those that are preparing for their appointment at one of your Rage Rooms, either in Farmington or in Madison Heights, what should they be wearing? What should they do to prepare themselves so that they're putting themselves in the safest position possible, on top of the training and instructions that are provided by your company?
So what to wear? Wear something breathable, flexible. You're in these Tyvek-y painter suits, kind of like hazmat suits they look like. And those babies don't breathe, man. They get so hot, you get so sweaty. So be comfortable, be flexible. You're gonna be swinging a baseball bat. Think like you're going to the gym. I see a lot of people come through the doors wearing open-toed footwear. Why they think that's a good idea in a Rage Room, I don't know. So obviously, protect yourself. There will be glass flying at high velocity. Room. We give you as much safety gear. We knock on wood, we never see any accidents here. We're pretty on top of the safety, but do that due diligence before you arrive and make sure you're wearing breathable, flexible, comfortable clothing. So on top of course, the Rage Rooms at your two locations in Madison Heights and in Farmington, of course, you have many escape room experiences as well, and Escape Room Zone at all those locations. Can you tell us about some of the different escape room experiences that people can expect to experience across all the different locations of Escape Room Zone? Yeah, so one of the coolest things about Escape Room Zone, obviously we've got multiple, as you were talking, Tyler, we've got multiple facilities. A lot of other escape room companies that you see, they might have 5 or 6 rooms that they've created and they repeat through all their locations. All 6 of our stores, all 29 of our rooms, except for one, which I'll talk about in a second, they're all completely different games. We've got something for the young and young at heart, mom, dad, grandpa, date night. I've got anything from Enchanted Forest. Think of like Indiana Jones, if you remember that show, Legends of the Hidden Temple from when we were kids. Think of that combined. That's Mystical Forest. That's probably the thunder you hear in the background at my Madison Heights store. Farmington, I've got stuff called Zombie Bomb, Meltdown, which is all based around the Fallout series if you play video games, where you have to find your Pit Boy and you go through the wasteland. Things from classic horror to fairy tale, fantasy, Alcatraz, where you're locked in a prison. And then the only one that the theme kind of repeats is our bank heist, but it's 2 different bank facilities, 2 different stores. Same theme. I mean, you're robbing a bank. Who doesn't want to rob a bank? But they're 2 completely different games. So, I mean, you could go through. We'll keep you busy for a while with 29 different games.
What's interesting, too, is on top of your several different locations throughout the state of Michigan for Escape Room Zone, you also have mobile escapes as well. Tell us about that experience, how that differs from the escape room experience at one of your brick and mortar locations, and how people can get access to some of these mobile escapes.
Yeah, so we've got 2 different mobile escapes that we're running right now. Secret to the Pharaoh Tomb, which what's cool about the mobile escape in general, before I get really into the themes, is they're customizable on times. They're customizable on size. They're literally just a tent that we pop up. The wall panels on the tent are all custom printed, custom themed. We bring electronic props, as you would see in one of the brick and mortar stores. And I can do a 5-minute game, I can do a 10-minute game, I can do a 30-minute game, I can do an hour game. They comfortably hold up to about 10 players. And depending, we see them for like rad parties, senior all-night parties. I've done a couple weddings with them. So a variety of things where people would want to have the escape come to them. My other game is more like a zombie apocalypse game I've got, where you're trying to find the cure. You find the last known science tent, if you will, and you have to ingest the cure to defeat the zombie apocalypse. That one's a little bit smaller, still all custom themed. It's a cool cool game, depending what, if you want more of a family-friendly game. Halloween, the zombie one obviously goes out a bunch. All the information on dates that it's available, because it does book up quickly, pricing, all that stuff. You go on our website, like you said, escaperoom-zone.com, check everything out from there. I've got pictures, I got videos if you Google it on YouTube, all that good stuff.
Again, the website, escaperoom-zone.com. You can also call to book your mobile escape experience or ask any questions you may have by calling 734-355-9900. That's 734-355-9900. And again, the website, escaperoom-zone.com/mobile-escapes. We're joined by Keri Kazz, the district manager of Escape Room Zone and Azra Haunted House, joining us on the Megacast. And Keri, our producer here, the king of television himself, Larry Nyland, has told me you're also a magician and an illusionist. Can you tell us about your magic? And then I also, to understand, you have a presentation for us.
Yeah. I was talking with Larry. He reached out via email. He's like, "Are you the same Keri that's also a magician, illusionist?" I go, "Yeah, that's me." So I mean, the magic virtually toured 39 different countries. Was part of one of the largest tour and illusion shows by Guinness Book. Did that, my early teens and 20s. And, when you do that for a billion years, you're like, I don't want to. When you wake up every night and you're in a different hotel and you have no idea where you're at, you're like, no, I want to go home, man. I just want to relax and have a life. So that's when I joined up with Escape Room Zone. And, I've gotten to use a lot of my magical know-how, my special effects know-how to be implemented in the games. And, magic as a whole, it's a novelty art form, but it's all about the experience. I want to show you something. I want to convey a message. Same with escapes. When we transport you into one of these games, we want you to really feel like you are lost item. We want you're running from a mummy. Dracula's right on top of you. So it's a good marriage hand in hand. And as far as presentation goes, Larry asked if I could do something. I said, yeah. Sure. I'm all about just regular things. If I bring out a deck of cards, Tyler, you might say, hey, that's a rigged deck of cards. If I bring out a big box and put a beautiful lady in it, paper towel. You can't get more, regular Joe Schmo than a piece of paper towel. I'll try to do this in frame here. I haven't done this on a screen in a while. We'll take the paper towel, and then paper towel's natural enemy, fire.
Of course.
Kids at home, don't try this at home.
Right.
Go to your neighbor's house.
That's what I usually do, yes.
Do this right in front of your eyes here, because if we did it behind your eyes, that's wherever it's their head. Watch closely. Goes away.
Oh.
Never happened.
Well.
Easy peasy.
Very nice.
So simple stuff like that. And it's, like I was saying, we try to bring that same type of wonderment, experience, joy into the games. And, it's a beautiful marriage between my magic and the escapes.
Keri, anything else for us today that you'd like our audience to learn about Escape Room Zone or about the Azra Haunted House before we let you go?
A lot of people are still new to the escape experience. Come on out, try it for yourself. Tyler, I'd love to have you come do a rage room. I'll get with Larry. We'll sync it up. Come try it. Let everybody know on your experience what you thought of it. If anybody has anything, visit the website. And I really look forward to seeing you guys at one of the stores.
Yeah, we have a good time over here at our flagship station at Civic Center TV, destroying cardboard boxes as a little bit of a mini rage room experience before we, of course, dispose of them in one of the dumpsters out back. So I'm sure we'd very much enjoy one of the rage room experiences. Yeah,
everybody, come on over. Larry's got my email. Set it up. Let's come on over. Let's have a good time.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, Keri.
Thank you for having me, guys.
We've been joined by Keri Kazz, the district manager of Escape Room Zone. You can learn more information about all their different locations and book your rage room experience at either their Madison Heights or Farmington location by visiting escaperoom-zone.com. That is escaperoom-zone.com. And if you'd like to set up an appointment for one of their mobile escapes, call them at 734-355-9900. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we'll talk about business across the state of Michigan with a new president and CEO of the Michigan Chamber of Commerce. Jim Holcomb will join us next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, We can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Joining us now is the president and CEO of the Michigan Chamber of Commerce, Jim Holcomb, who just took over as president and CEO after succeeding former president and CEO Rich Studley. Jim, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first, give us a little bit of a background on you. Tell us about some of your accomplishments in the past in your career, and what led you to the Michigan Chamber of Commerce.
Sure. I've been in Lansing since approximately 1991. I came here as a law student and a legislative staffer. I've worked in the House, I've worked in the Senate, I've been a chief of staff for a Speaker of the House, I've been a legal counsel. I did practice law for 4 years with a mid-major firm here in Michigan, and now I've been at the Michigan Chamber for 14 years, committed to doing everything I can to help businesses in Michigan succeed. This is a real home for me, it's where my passion is, and I'm glad to be here. And Rich Studley did a tremendous job for us for 40 years here at the Chamber, and I'm excited to see where we take the Chamber into the future.
Yeah, Rich did great work with the Michigan Chamber business community here in our state. Certainly appreciated his service over several decades at the helm at the Michigan Chamber of Commerce. So now you're coming in a transition period, of course, for a transition of leadership, but also as we continue to transition from the thick of the COVID-19 pandemic into what hopefully is nearing the end of the pandemic and the post-pandemic stage, and that's an interesting place to come in as a new leader. So right now, where does Michigan's business community stand as it regards to recovery from the bulk of the COVID-19 pandemic and those challenges that they faced, and also in building a prosperous future for businesses current and oncoming in the near future?
Certainly many of our businesses across the state and Michigan Chamber members are a little battered. It's been a rough couple of years, but more importantly, they're optimistic. As you can imagine, we're constantly in conversation with our members, and we've recently surveyed them. 80% are saying that COVID is still having a negative impact on their business operations. But even with that, they see the ability of what can be. They see that they've come through the worst of it, hopefully, and hopefully we get COVID behind us from a health standpoint. But they're feeling optimistic about the state because they've learned how to be entrepreneurial. They've learned how to adapt. They've learned how to coordinate with each other. And I think one of the best things we saw is, regardless if you're a Michigan Chamber member or not, you were getting help from us during COVID. And many other organizations did the same. And it was wonderful to see Michiganders helping each other and all just trying to make sure that we had the best information, the best resources, and the ability to move our communities forward. because that's what's going to help the state. Individually, we have to strengthen our communities, and the state overall will do very well.
And so one of the key challenges that has arisen over the course of the pandemic, particularly as businesses have reopened after the shutdowns, after all the restrictions were ultimately lifted late last year or in the middle portions of last year in 2021, has been a continued issue with staffing shortages. And it's something we just recently talked about with Lisa Bain from JVS Human Services about some advice for nailing your job interview, but also talking about the state of the staffing situation across the board in the state of Michigan. Are we seeing that improving, or are there any signs of that being relieved in the future? And regardless of that situation, what are businesses in the state of Michigan doing as of now to attract that talent to come back to the workplace, or new talent to come in to the workplace here in Michigan?
We're certainly seeing an improvement, but there's still a long way to go. The talent crisis and shortage is just really an impediment to growth here in Michigan, and for current businesses, just being able to operate at pre-pandemic hours is a struggle. I think if we go to any of our restaurants and bars across the state and a lot of our social outlets, it's really hard to continue to keep those hours of operations for the full day because of the staff shortage. And so they're being creative. They're trying to work cooperatively with each other. You see businesses who share staff for the people who really do want to put in the hours. You're seeing better screening on hiring, I believe, as well. So the people you're hiring are going to be a long-term employee. They're people committed to your organization and to working with each other. But I think going forward, it's going to be a continued evolution. What we're seeing, whether you call it the Great Resignation or just people reevaluating the work-life balance, employers are also having to modify their approach. We have here at the Michigan Chamber, we've gone to the option of working remote, and we're finding ways to still be productive. And in many cases, we've actually increased our efficiency, and you're seeing that in businesses across the state. But we certainly aren't out of the woods by any stretch. And it's going to take the continued entrepreneurial spirit and the flexibility of job providers to really get back to where they were. But I think we'll not only get back to where we were, we're going to be better. And in the future, we're going to be stronger for it. Nobody wished the pandemic upon anyone, but we're learning a lot of good lessons. And I think we're having a good rebalance of a work-life balance, and employers and employees working together, not only to keep themselves safe, to keep their customers safe, to make sure their businesses are strong operations.
And it seemed like for a while there was a bit of a clash between employers that were looking to fill these positions and potential employees, either those that had previously been furloughed or had been laid off or had stepped away during the thick of the pandemic and had then said they weren't going to come back for one reason or another. You mentioned many of them: work-life balance, wage issues, demands or requests for better benefits or benefits altogether. And now we're seeing a little bit of a shift where there is that flexibility in those negotiations from the businesses to potential employees and from potential employees to the businesses as well. What advice have you, as your organization, been giving to businesses, or what have members of your Chamber of Commerce found to be the ways that they've had to modify their approach to hiring new staff, to finding that new talent, to adjust to this new paradigm while also modifying their business plan so that they're able to operate as normal and successfully as possible despite these current challenges?
Yeah, I think the best practice, what we've seen, is just better communication in the hiring process, better communication in training and onboarding your staff, better communication in how you evaluate staff. I think the more that employers and employees talk, the better the operations of the organization. And we're seeing that pan out. People are becoming more efficient because they're sharing their best practices, not only with other organizations, but more importantly, internally. I know I've just conducted a staff survey here, and I'm meeting one-on-one with all of our employees just to figure out, okay, what's working, what's not, where can we improve? We have a very strong culture here and a culture of being open and honest. And I think the more that employers adopt that, it's going to help them. But the point you referenced earlier that I think is absolutely the most important, it's employers and employees discussing how to do this. The government top-down mandates don't work. It's not a one-size-fits-all, whether we're talking about what to do with masks, what to do with vaccines, or how to run your day-to-day operations. Businesses operate the best when they're collaborative internally, and government, unfortunately, too often gets in the way and puts up a needless hurdle.
And what we're seeing, too, that's really nice, and you mentioned the opportunities for better training, for advancement, for changing directions if people decide that they need a change, or they'd like a change, or they'd like to challenge themselves in a different way within a company, whereas before it was very rigid. If you wanted to make that change, you had to undergo that training on your own time. It could take years. It could take a lot of money to get that retraining. And now we've seen these businesses say, we want to keep you on our staff while we train you to transition somewhere else, and while you help to train somebody to take over your position. And that brings me to some of the great opportunities that are going to be coming into Michigan in the near future. We heard about the $7 billion investment that General Motors is making in the state of Michigan for building electric vehicles and for building batteries for electric vehicles as well. And so there's great opportunity also coming to the state of Michigan. How does that opportunity for changes in the paradigm of different industries, especially critical industries like the automotive industry in the state of Michigan, help to aid that change that you've mentioned in training and in advancement in a company that's been so critical to maintaining your employee base and retaining staff long term?
Yeah, whenever we can get great new expansion here in Michigan, it's a wonderful thing, not only for the businesses that are doing it, but all the ancillary businesses. Yeah. And as you said in training, technology is just changing our lives so rapidly. And when you can have an employee train another employee, it's just wonderful because they're already cooperative, they're already embrace the culture of the company. But also what you were saying before, just making sure, the right people are in the right seats. You can have a great employee who's fairly competent at their job, but they don't enjoy it. How much better is it to find that place in the organization where they truly love what they're doing and they're actually more productive? And it just helps everybody get along better. And then you have the circular impact back to having the work-life balance. The best thing we can do, I think, as employers is make sure that our employees are not only the best employee, but we set them up to be the best brother, the best husband, the best volunteer baseball coach. If you're happy at your job, you're a better participant in your community. And I truly believe that the more that we can help our employees be great participants in the community, everybody's going to benefit. Because we are all in this together, and we need to just make sure that we're taking the opportunity when you have something like GM, and what a wonderful investment and a great company coming in, but it also gives the state the ability to expand and keep that, not only the manufacturing talent here, but grow the intellectual talent and how much R&D can we bring into an area just to make sure that Michigan is always on the cutting edge. We just have to embrace the change and not be scared of it.
We're joined by Jim Holcomb. He is the president and CEO of the Michigan Chamber of Commerce, joining us on the Megacast. And last night, Jim, Governor Gretchen Whitmer made her final state of the state address of her current term in office. What were some of the parts of what she had said last night, or some of the topics she spoke about, such as taxes in particular, additional funding that may be placed for businesses for recovery? What were some of those key parts that she touched on last night that particularly garnered your attention and the Chamber's attention going forward, as Michigan, the state government and local government as well, going to have to be a key part in aiding our businesses recovering from all of the damage and all of the challenges, more so, that they experienced during the pandemic?
I really appreciated the governor's tone last night. I think one of the biggest impediments we have to progress here in Michigan and across the country is just kind of the snarky nature that politics has become. It's about tweets and a press release and not real debate. And the more that Republicans, independents, Democrats, everybody sits down and actually debates and discusses an issue, the better we're going to be. So I appreciated that she was trying to set that tone. I would have liked to have heard more details. Anytime we can focus on job creation and increasing the work-life balance and bringing businesses to Michigan and making Michigan economically competitive, not only but in the state, but in the world, that's a great thing. But we really need to hear the details. And I'm hopeful that she'll reach across the partisan aisle, that she'll work with Speaker Wentworth and Senate Majority Leader Shirkey and really find ways that we can come together as a state. We need to fix our roads. We need to have better infrastructure. We need to make sure that there are training opportunities, that there's affordable housing, and we deal with daycare for working mothers and working parents across the state. We don't have a shortage of issues, but we do have a shortage, I'm afraid, of real debate. And I'm hopeful that we can take her speech last night that had some good themes, but really develop that in the legislative process. And, we're urging her as well as legislative leaders, put down the partisan banter, and let's get together in committee rooms and find results and practical solutions to real problems.
And so one of the other forms of good news that's come in recently from the state is their revenue numbers have shown they brought in way greater numbers in revenue in the state of Michigan over the past several years. How can that extra revenue aid in the recovery of Michigan's businesses, and what goals does the chamber have in working with our leaders in Lansing, both in the legislature and in the governor's office? Should it be Governor Whitmer? Should it be somebody else in the near future after the 2022 elections, to tap into some of that revenue bonus that we've seen over the past few years to aid Michigan businesses in their recovery?
Well, I think what we need to recognize is a lot of the increased revenue is just federal dollars coming down, whether it was from borrowed money or federal taxes, and we need to treat it as such. Our goal is, what we're talking with legislators and the governor's office about, is be aggressive with the budgeting, but be smart with it. Don't create and spend dollars that create long-term debt burdens that are going to impact your budget 3, 4, 5 years down the road when all this money dries up. Let's treat this like one-time money and find those areas. Is it equipment in schools? Is it infrastructure? Is it training opportunities? Is it developing affordable housing? What can we do and almost treat this money as a one-time expenditure so we don't create a long-term burden? I'm worried that we're going to go through and this money is going to seem endless, and it's not. The money dries up, and we have to make sure Michigan is economically positioned and fiscally sound 2, 3, 4 years from now, not just get the gratification of doing some quick spending now. So there's a lot of talk about tax cuts. That's great, and the money should go back to taxpayers. But let's find the most efficient way to do that, and let's not, like I said, create a burden later. It doesn't help you to cut taxes now. In 2, 3, 4 years, you're back at the trough trying to increase taxes. Let's treat taxpayers fairly and give them the money back now without creating a long-term problem.
We're joined by Jim Holcomb, President and CEO of the Michigan Chamber of Commerce, on the Megacast. Jim, a few more minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that we haven't discussed that you would like to touch on, or any other information that Michiganders should be paying attention to as it affects our businesses?
Well, I think what Michiganders should be doing is getting more involved. I think, as we talked earlier, the nature of politics right now and the discourse is not great. That's going to change when citizens get involved, when they talk to their local elected representatives, their state senator, their state representative, and share the opinions and ideas of what's important to them as a constituent. We really need the public to bring their ideas forth, because the people we elect are the ones representing us. Michigan has a great opportunity to continue the progress we're making and to have a wonderful future. We just can't waste it on partisan politics. We need to make sure we're making smart decisions, and the budget is the first place to start. That's the most important job the legislature has right now, is dealing with budget issues in the next couple months and making sure that we expend this money wisely, because it's a real opportunity we can't let slip through our fingers.
Jim, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, introducing our local area and our community and our viewership to you and your leadership over at the Michigan Chamber of Commerce, and giving us some insight into the future that will be very interesting and critical in the next several months and several years for our business community.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate that you have the show, that you're trying to improve the discourse locally and in our communities across the state and Southeast Michigan. It's really important, and you're doing a great job making sure these issues come to the forefront. So thanks for what you do.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior.
These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance.
They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different.
One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games?
Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Whatever gets you talking.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
we work together to protect water resources for everyone.
Most of the pollution entering our rivers is carried by rainwater that runs off roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
a rain garden helps catch stormwater runoff.
Rain gardens and their plants help dirty runoff soak into the ground.
You can do your part to help keep our water clean.
Learn about rain gardens and native plants.
So consider a rain garden in your home landscaping.
Catch the runoff with a rain garden.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. You can learn more information about the show by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast. We'll learn more information about all of our partnering TV, radio, and web outlets that join us every day live from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, live to tape as well, and find all of our shows and each interview on demand, civiccentertv.com/megacast. Forgotten Harvest delivers over 144,000 pounds of surplus food per day to local charities 5 days a week, and their 29th annual Comedy Night fundraiser will be coming up this April 29th. That's April 29th at the historic Fox Theater in downtown Detroit. Joining us to talk about Forgotten Harvest as well as Comedy Night on the Megacast is their corporate engagement and events manager, Erica Mara, with us on the Megacast. Erica, thank you for being with us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate your time. So first of all, just give us for those that are not familiar with the work that Forgotten Harvest does, tell us a little bit about what they do to combat hunger and food insecurity in the Metro Detroit area.
Absolutely. So Forgotten Harvest is Metro Detroit's leading food rescue organization. And what we do is we work with roughly over 800 partners, and those can be grocery stores, manufacturers, restaurants, or venues. And we pick up fresh, healthy food that's just surplus that would otherwise go to waste. And we deliver, like you said, 5 days a week to about over 180 charity pantry partners, free of charge across Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb counties.
And so the winter months are obviously difficult for a number of different reasons for people here in Michigan, especially for, I would imagine, with the COVID-19 pandemic going on. It doesn't make things any easier for those that are already struggling in normal times, or we're already struggling in more normal times to secure food on the table for themselves and for their families. Are the winter months typically more difficult for those that are facing food insecurity to secure those necessities, and does that make the operations of Forgotten Harvest kind of have to kick into overdrive or change different and be different during these months of the year in order to address that surplus?
I would say that we've definitely seen an uptick in the amount of people that we've been serving since the COVID-19 pandemic in general. And one of the ways that we're looking to combat that actually is with our new building that we'll be moving into this spring. Of course, we want to be able to serve that increased number of people, but one of our other goals with our new space, with our new building, is to be able to create a more equitable mix of food that we are delivering to pantries, who's then giving to food insecure people in our neighborhoods. Want to make sure that we have the right amount of food to give to people at the right place at the right time. So a good balance of protein, good balance of fruits and vegetables, of pantry staples, and really just making the process a bit more equitable so that people who are in need are getting, the right balance.
So as mentioned in the opening of the interview, on April 29th of this year, Forgotten Harvest will be holding its 29th annual Comedy Night fundraiser at the Fox Theater in downtown Detroit. Tickets will be ranging from $35 to $175 and can be purchased through Ticketmaster. Those became available last week, Friday, January 28th of this year. And also sponsorship packages are available as well. So tell us first about what people can expect to experience if they attend Comedy Night, and how people can get involved either individually or with their organizations if they'd like to sponsor the event as well.
Absolutely. So as mentioned, this is our 29th annual Comedy Night. So this fundraising event has been happening almost as long as our organization has been operating, since 1990. This will be our first time returning to the Fox in 2 years because of the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2020, we unfortunately had to cancel. And then last year's event was a virtual event with Jay Leno. But this year we are so proud and so excited to bring back Seth Meyers. Again, that's April 29th at the Fox Theater in Detroit. Our goal is to raise enough money to distribute over 2 million meals into our community. And there are a couple ways to get involved, as you mentioned. One would be to purchase a ticket. Tickets are on sale now at forgottenharvest.org/Comedy Night 2022. You can find all the information about ticketing there. We also have opportunities for individuals or businesses to sponsor. All of that information regarding our sponsorship booklet, our sponsorship form is available online. All of those sponsorships are tax deductible, and they start around $1,000. And there's also a way to contribute with this event in conjunction. We also have an online and a live auction. The live auction takes place during the event on the 29th, and then we have an online auction that runs throughout the week of the event. So even if you're not attending, there's a way to kind of get involved there as well. And then we offer, if anyone would like to donate an auction item, such as experiences, gift cards, all that information is online as well.
And so Seth Meyers, of course, as you said, is going to be the special guest along with others at Comedy Night, which is Friday, April 29th at 7 p.m. at the Fox Theater in downtown Detroit. How did your organization secure Seth Meyers for this event, and much like you did with another star of late night last year for the virtual event in Jay Leno?
Of course. So this is actually going to be Seth Meyers' third event with us. We're very grateful. He's a great asset and ally in the fight against food insecurity. And in the past, we've also had talent including like Jim Gaffigan, Tim Allen, as you said, Jay Leno. Yeah. So it's been really fun to work with these celebrities to raise awareness about our mission within our community to people. Maybe they're coming to an event just to see a comedian, but they're also going to be exposed to our mission and the work that we do, and hopefully be able to chip in with that as well. So it's a great way for us to gain exposure, and we're really looking forward to having Seth back.
We're joined by Erica Mara. She is the Corporate Engagements and Events Manager at Forgotten Harvest, joining us on the Megacast. You can learn more information about Forgotten Harvest by visiting their website at forgottenharvest.org. You can learn more as well about their Comedy Night event happening Friday, April 29th of this year at 7 o'clock at the Fox Theater in downtown Detroit by visiting forgottenharvest.org/Comedy Night 2022. forgottenharvest.org/Comedy Night 2022, where you can learn more information about sponsorship, purchase tickets, and more. And so, as you mentioned, last year's event was virtual due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Things are much different at this moment in time than they were a year ago. A lot more things are able to be in person. Of course, shows and entertainment are back to some semblance of normal. Being that this is going to be an indoor event, it will be at the Fox Theater in downtown Detroit. What sort of COVID-19 protocols can people expect to have in place if they're interested in attending or are planning to attend this event in April?
Absolutely. So our donors drive our mission, and we feel like it's our responsibility to do our part to try and keep everyone safe. So that said, we do have some COVID-19 policies in place for this event. One being that we will require you to either show proof of vaccination or the results of a negative COVID test within 72 hours before the event to attend. And then we also are requiring masks when not eating or drinking as well.
We're joined by Erica Mara from Forgotten Harvest on the Megacast. Again, their website, forgottenharvest.org/Comedy Night 2022 to learn more information. So sponsorships are available for the event. Are there different levels of sponsorship that are available for people? And is it just organizations or corporate sponsorships, or can individuals also sponsor this event? And up to what point in time can they provide that sponsorship?
Absolutely. So individuals or corporate entities are welcome to sponsor. We have sponsorship levels ranging from $1,000 to, I believe, $25,000 or $50,000, which would be our presenting sponsor. And all of those include a number of promotional incentives. Also they include tickets to the event, as well as tickets to our VIP sponsor pre-party that we hold at the Colony Club every year. And that is held right before the event. And yeah, we really appreciate anyone who is willing to help us put this event on, be successful, and help make a dent in food insecurity in our area.
We're joined by Erica Mara, the Corporate Engagements and Events Manager at Forgotten Harvest on the Megacast. You can learn more information about Forgotten Harvest and about Comedy Night by visiting forgottenharvest.org/Comedy Night 2022. That's forgottenharvest.org/Comedy Night 2022. Where you'll learn more information about the show that will be happening on April 29th of this year at 7 p.m. in downtown Detroit at the Fox Theater. Purchase tickets online. And learn more information about sponsorship, COVID-19 policies, their auctions, and more. And so what other events, Erica, can people be expecting to be coming up through Forgotten Harvest to help raise awareness and raise funds, of course, to combat food insecurity here in the Metro Detroit area?
Sure, absolutely. As mentioned, we are moving into our new building this year, so people can expect an open house a little bit later in the spring to come check out our new space, what we're doing to better serve the community in that new building, some of the new technology we're using, and all that fun stuff. So that'll be coming later this spring. We also have 2 more of our larger public fundraisers throughout the rest of the year. One is our summer event, which will be tweaked a little bit this year. A lot of things still in the works, but we're very excited to bring that back again. That was impacted as well due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we'll be bringing that back in the summer of 2022 with a little bit of a new format. And then also later in the fall is our Women's Harvest Lunch. That last year, because of the pandemic too, was also tweaked into Chop Down Hunger, which was an online cooking competition. But as of right now, we are planning on bringing back the Women's Harvest Luncheon in the fall. And that's a great networking opportunity for female professionals in the area to come out, have a fun culinary experience, and make a difference in our mission.
And so, Erica, what about volunteer opportunities? Is there still a greater need for increased volunteer opportunities through Forgotten Harvest at this time? And what are some of those opportunities that may be available if people are interested in helping out your organization?
Absolutely. So we still have volunteer opportunities open currently, and those consist of either repack volunteer opportunities at our warehouse in Royal Oak, or working at one of our mobile pantry sites and helping to actually distribute food at a pantry site. We do also have COVID-19 precautions in place just in an effort to keep everyone safe, but they are distanced. I believe we accept ages 16 and over for our volunteer experiences, and all of that information, if you'd like to sign up or would just like more information, can be found online on our website as well at forgottenharvest.org under the volunteer tab.
And you can learn more about the 29th Annual Comedy Night fundraiser benefiting Forgotten Harvest as well by visiting their website, forgottenharvest.org/Comedy Night 2022, or just go to their website, forgottenharvest.org, and there will be a link right at the top of the page that will pop up when you go to their website. That will link you to all the information you need to know about Comedy Night, including purchasing tickets, $35 to $175 per ticket through Ticketmaster, as well as a link to the Ticketmaster page to purchase those tickets, sponsorship information, COVID protocols, and more. ForgottenHarvest.org/Comedy Night 2022. Erica, just another minute or so left before we say goodbye today. Anything else that we haven't touched on today that you'd like to discuss, or other information that would be important for our audience to know or consider about Forgotten Harvest at this time?
Absolutely. Mostly we're just very grateful for the opportunity to come on the show and kind of help spread the word about everything that we've got going on. There's lots coming in the future for Forgotten Harvest, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. And again, any other information that you'd like to find out about our mission, about this particular event, volunteer opportunities, sponsorships, anything of the sort, we really encourage you to head to our website. We've got all that information on there. Again, it's ForgottenHarvest.org.
Erica, thank you very much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. We've been joined by Erica Mara from Forgotten Harvest on the Megacast. You can learn more information about the organization by visiting their website at ForgottenHarvest.org. You can learn more about Comedy Night, their 29th annual event happening on April 29th, which is a Friday, at 7 o'clock p.m. at the Fox Theater in downtown Detroit by visiting ForgottenHarvest.org/Comedy Night 2022. There you'll be able to purchase tickets for the event. You can even find out more information about sponsorship and more. ForgottenHarvest.org/Comedy Night 2022. That is going to do it for today's edition of the Megacast. We want to thank you for tuning in and everyone that joined us on the show. Of course, you can learn more information about the Megacast by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/Megacast. There we have information linking you to all of our partnering television, radio, and web outlets, so you can keep up to date on everything that they do outside of the 2 hours a day, 5 days a week that they're joining us here from 10 to noon on the Megacast network of TV, radio, and web stations. You can also find all of our shows as well as each individual interview on demand on our website, also at civiccentertv.com/Megacast. As we know, it's tough for you to tune in for 2 whole hours of the show, Monday through Friday, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon while you're at work, while you're out and about in your busy life. It can be really tough to tune in for the full 2 hours, but you can find us on demand anytime on our website. Or if you're just interested in certain topics, such as food insecurity, if you're interested in that topic, and that's something that you hold near and dear, and you wanted to learn more about this upcoming fundraiser on April 29th with Forgotten Harvest, you can find our interview with Erica later on this afternoon on our website at civiccentertv.com/Megacast. And there's a number of other topics that we discuss as well, both on the COVID-19 front and beyond. So civiccentertv.com/Megacast, your home for everything you need to know about the Megacast and to find all of our shows and each interview on demand. Big thank you to all of our guests on today's edition of the show. Of course, Erica Mara, the Corporate Engagements and Events Manager at Forgotten Harvest, for being with us. Jim Holcomb, the new President and CEO of the Michigan Chamber of Commerce. Keri Kazz, the District Manager at Escape Room Zone and Azra Haunted House, for joining us on the show. And then in the first hour of the show, we thank Debbie Binder, the West Bloomfield Township Clerk, for being with us, as well as Lisa Macheski from the Oakland Literacy Council. Again, you can find all of those interviews on demand on our website sometime mid to late afternoon. Each day is when we get those uploaded to civiccentertv.com/Megacast. We also highly encourage you to go over to our coronavirus page at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where at the top of the page, we have linked you directly to the COVID-19 specific web pages for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, the Oakland County Health Division, and in our place of origin here in Oakland County, many of those municipalities throughout the county, so you can keep up to date on how COVID-19 is affecting your hometown, your state here in the state of Michigan, and the U.S. and the world from the CDC as well. civiccentertv.com/coronavirus for all that, as well as our top headlines affecting the Great Lakes State each and every day that we broadcast this show, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Big thank you to our crew as well, our technical director, Calvin Brown, for being with me in the studio for 2 hours each and every day that we do this show live, Monday through Friday from 10 to noon. The king of television himself, Larry Nyland, our producer, getting everybody ready to come on the show, helping us get ready to talk to them as well before all of our live shows, and Maddie Mustian out at Master Control, helping us on and off the air. On My Michigan TV, Steve Leto Live is coming up next. We will return tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.